Okay.
Sure. I actually have a pressing matter that needs a decision tonight because I have a FOIA request I don't know how to answer. So I'll talk to you a little bit about what's on my report. For HIPAA, we did have a breach that was discovered on July 12th, 2013 on the Edgar County Watchdog site. 11 clients were affected by the breach, which was 9 families. It was filed under the unauthorized access disclosure category. We had clients' names, community they lived in, and health department program they were enrolled in were disclosed. The origin of the breach, a security investigation, incident investigation was conducted by me, the HIPAA officer, and it was discovered that Doug Corbett, Public Health Administrator, sent an unredacted copy of the audit report from the East Central Illinois Area Agency on Aging to Rick Bowen, the Ford County Board Chairman. Page 3 of the report contained client information that should have been redacted prior to sending it to Mr. Bowen. I confirmed with Rick Bowen that he received the FOIA request from the Edgar County Watchdogs regarding emails received from or sent to Mr. Corbett, and Mr. Bowen sent on the unredacted report to the Watchdogs. For mitigation, a letter was sent to all of the clients whose information was breached via certified mail. All receipts have been returned to me confirming receipt. I completed and submitted the notice to the Secretary of the Health and Human Services of the breach of unsecured protected health information and have confirmation that the report was filed. The Area Agency on Aging sent a letter to the Edgar County Watchdogs asking them to remove the names of the clients. And then for FOIA, we've had a number of FOIAs continue to come in. The one that I have that is due tomorrow is a request from Mr. Kurt Allen that has not been completed yet, as I need some direction from the board. One of the things that they're asking for is the policy that talks about the longevity pay. And when I went into the policies for Chapter 98, I found a policy that said salaries revised. That has a date on it of March 2013. When I read that policy, I'm like, that's not the policy that we've had in place, and yet there wasn't another salaries policy in there. So I contacted Mr. Corbett and asked him what happened to the other policy, and I looked at the minutes to the meeting in April. He had brought that policy to the board, and at that time the board had said that they weren't going to approve that policy because you didn't want to take any benefits away from the employees without surveying them first. And then that's been back on the agenda, but it's never been completed. So that policy has never been approved, and yet the old policy isn't in there for me to send. Now, I can have the IT guy go back and find that, but I wasn't going to do that without somebody telling me to do that, because that's going to raise a whole bunch of questions. So I'm asking you what you'd like me to do for that.
There's a serious issue involved with what's transpired in the deletion of policies and procedures as we form new ones. The question should be asked is, if you're sued under a policy that you eliminated and it doesn't show up, we're not tracking our previous policies, we're just deleting them. It's a public record. We should be documenting those and saving those, and then you show the new policy and the date that it's adopted. We have a great habit of deleting things that should not be deleted, and you have no justification in defending ourselves when we are systematically overriding policies, and it has been going on for a long time. It's unethical. It should not be happening. And now we're in a quandary. You're right. We are in a hell of a quandary. You have some fellows requesting something that you can't provide to them very easily now.
Well, like I said, I can have IT guys.
We don't have no choice. You have to have the IT guy.
But I'm not going to tell you to do that. I mean, somebody's got to say, because, you know.
But basically, the policy's never been approved, so it shouldn't be on there in the current policy book, period.
Well, what I said is they need to put in there, if it's a policy that they've updated, it needs to say the date pending approval or something behind it.
So you just need somebody from the board to contact the IT guy and tell them it's okay.
I think the board needs to take action to have the IT department recover any and all policies that have been overwritten for the last couple of years, period. You can't, we are at a huge risk when you overwrite that, because what happens a year from now if we get in litigation and you come back, and what are you going to tell them then? I mean, these are the systematic ethical issues that are prevalent that have to be addressed. You can't just delete government documents, even though you rewrite them. You have to preserve the old one to show a history of where you're going. And we haven't done that. Now we've got to fess up and we need to get IT in there and get it fixed. We need to pull up all the policies.
Okay, but it's Julie's responsibility to answer the FOIA, not to maintain those
Right.
policies. So whose job is it to maintain those policies and procedures? Because it's not her job to maintain
It's
that.
in this, I'll go through it a little bit later, but I've got it in here that Mr. Corbett and the services coordinator, Gary Hagan, are supposed to be the two that review the policies.
Okay, so they're the ones that need to give the IT guy direction, then, because that's not a part of her job. Her job is to answer the FOIA.
Tomorrow.
We're going to give direction on that,
You
right?
can send the one that's not approved, it's not an official policy. You can turn on track changes and dig back, if it's a Word document, you can track changes if it's saved in the same format.
I think the way I talked to Doug, he wasn't
I don't
sure
know,
why
that's
it
my
wasn't,
question.
he said, I must have deleted it. I
And
should
then you can
have,
search,
but that's
and then
the
you can
one.
search the history
No,
behind it.
have they asked for an extension?
So,
But
we
You
could,
need to provide what you have and ask for an extension.
yeah. But it may be a simple matter of track changes, save in a different format, and we have it back.
I think I don't know.
Did you hear what Mr. Fitton said?
I think you need to provide that what you have and then ask for an extension. That's the other, so the IT guy can.
I was able to find one from 2009 from an employee that had been hired. That was the old one, but I don't know what changes were made between '09 and now.
And I don't know that you can't send them the one that is there now because it hasn't been approved by the board.
No,
It's not been
How far
voted
back
on.
was the request for? Is it how many years?
Without having it in front of me, I don't recall. I don't, it was actually just a longevity policy is what I asked
Yeah, it
for.
was just that, they wanted Mary Iman's and Doug's longevity pay, which Doug didn't get one because he hadn't been there for 5 years. They wanted the policy that said that they could get that, and they wanted the minutes of the meeting to the board meeting that said what was approved, and I have that stuff. I'm just hung up on this.
So the most current approved one we have is from '09, and then we have to.
Well, that's the one that I've been able to track down through an employee,
But that one,
more recent employee.
but that one was approved at least.
I guess the question now is, you just made a statement that Mr. Corbett did not receive $1,000, and you posted it on the website under the $75,000, the $75,000 pay schedule. You posted that he received a $1,000 longevity bonus. It's posted on the website. Now, what is we struggle here. We've asked 2 months in a row. We've asked for a breakdown of this. We don't get it. We've asked for the payroll for 2 months, a breakdown of payroll. We don't get it.
You asked for you?
No, you guys
board.
posted. We asked the board at the board meeting, we've asked for these documents. We don't get them. You guys post on the website that Mr. Corbett got a $1,000 longevity bonus. Now, you say he didn't get it.
Well, he wasn't entitled to
Who
it.
has the right facts? We can't sort anything out with the information that we get. It's impossible to get accurate documents. You can't say he didn't get it and post it on the website that he did. That's a state requirement that we post. Salaries over $75,000. Hasn't been done for the last couple of years. You guys just posted them within the last week, and now you get up and say that's not correct either. The public has a right to have accurate documents.
You're in the same boat as I am as FOIA officer.
Well,
When I get a FOIA, I ask the person that knows that department. If it's a fiscal thing, the fiscal department gives it to me. I have no idea whether what they're giving to me is correct or not without going to a lawyer every single time and having them look at it. So I'm at the mercy of, when they ask for a FOIA that has nothing to do with my job, I go to the department and say, this is what they're asking for. They give me the information and I pass it on.
So the overseers of the policy and procedure manual that gets updated every year, you would expect that they truly are doing that when they,
The management team is required to update their own program
own?
policies yearly, yes.
the policy that I have here says that the administrator and the financial coordinator are the two that do the
Annual
policy
review.
updates. I guess we just will, let me find it. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about this right here. Here's a FOIA. And this
Before
was,
we move on, did you get an answer to what you need to do for tomorrow?
we need to ask for an extension.
I
Did you
think
get an
they're-
answer on that?
they're willing to wait.
Are you
I
willing
think-
to wait?
I have no
if
problem
we
with
ask for
that.
an extension?
Would you send that to me in writing, please?
It's in a public meeting, it's part of the record.
We're fine with that.
I have no, I mean, that's an option you have as a public body to extend that. I have no control over that. I
Thank
have
you.
no problem with that.
Thank you.
And I-
Okay, here's, I want to talk about these FOIAs here. Here's one, Mr. Will Brumlevy, the Paxton Record, FOIA request, sent March 20th, 2013. Dear Mr. Brumlevy, in your response, your FOIA request of March 20th, 2013, per consultation with legal counsel, the Ford-Iroquois Public Health Department does not have any regulations or other material regarding purchases or contract. By providing you this documentation, we now consider this FOIA closed. Here's the procurement policy. This is a policy, this FOIA was illegally denied. This is a procurement policy that says, and let's talk about that, says anything, it is estimated to cost the purchase in excess of $3,000, the public health administrator will solicit sealed bids by public advertisement in at least 2 local papers. The advertisement will clearly define the terms of the service needed. It will allow 2 weeks for submitted bids and establishment of a date and time at the health department for the bids to be opened publicly. Do I have to say any more?
I provided Dr. Brucker with Reverend Jensen to give you that information that shows that our attorney told us how to answer that FOIA that time.
Well, I guess you had you got an attorney that was giving you faulty advice.
And so, what am I supposed to do with that?
But it doesn't say that it doesn't say, if you read this, it says legal counsel does not have any regulations or other material regarding purchases and contract. That's an outright lie. You should have said we have a policy, but our legal counsel says we can't respond to you. That's what you should have said. No, you lied to Mr. Brumlevy, and you're the FOIA officer. You have a duty to answer to the public in an honest fashion, and you didn't do it. This is a bold-faced lie.
I don't send any FOIAs out of the office without approval from the administrator or whoever's in chain of command.
And we can pass the blame all around, and in the end, you are the FOIA officer, you are responsible, and this is unacceptable behavior. You know, as a board member, I'm going to go a little further. I give a FOIA, I'm a board member, I give a FOIA to get the damn policy and procedure manual. That's what it took for me to get a policy and procedure manual as a board member. So then we get to talking about with legal counsel over some of the other issues going on, right? Then the attorney says, well, we need to know about the administration part. So I get to asking some of the employees that are honorable. And I said, I don't know if I have anything. Well, that's because they didn't give you the entire policy and procedure manual. So then I do another FOIA, right? Then I get a bunch more. I still don't think I got it all. But there's a lot of policies and procedures. These folks don't have any of them.
I would be happy to have anybody come in the office, set them up in a conference room, put the computer on, let them look at whatever they want.
The point is, it shouldn't take that much. We shouldn't have to ask for a FOIA to get it. I shouldn't have to ask for a FOIA.
I agree with that. I agree with that 100%.
Well, but that's what it takes to get it. Somebody asked me the other day, why do you have to do a FOIA? Well, because they won't answer me. I got one, I requested some documents and I told it to take 30 days. So I did a FOIA and I had them in 2. How much of this crap are we going to continue to go? If we want to fix public health, it has to get all fixed. We can't continue down doing the things that's been going on. Yeah, I'm fired up.
I guess I'll make one comment. You just told me the administrative should have done that, the administration should have done that, the administration should have done that. I guess I'm going to say now, anybody who said that it was a travesty of injustice, this is our proof right here. We've just proved over and over, you're telling us that they should have done it. The employees are telling us that they should be doing these things, and obviously they were not doing it. So I guess we shouldn't be hearing about that anymore. I think that you just proved our point for us. Thank you.
The salary schedule right here, longevity bonus, benchmarks, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, 25, and 30 years. Okay, let's talk about that.
That's the revised one.
Right.
It's not been approved by the board.
Right. Let's talk about it, though. I think you, at the last meeting, I think we were given documents where you're up to 25 years. You are not a 25-year employee of the Public Health Department. You go pull your IMRF status, you were a private contractor for several years, and yet you're being compensated as if you were a full-time employee for those years while you were a private contractor. That's not a legitimate expense of taxpayer money.
That was,
I don't know.
when Mr. Pickering called and asked me to come back to the health department when I left, he said to me, when you come back, we will keep your longevity and everything in place.
That's against the
did not
law.
allow.
You don't have that right. You don't have that right. You're a private contractor. If I'm a private contractor, am I entitled to go get some government pension that I didn't do the work for? No.
And that's why I went back to being an employee, because we found out through IMRF that I actually was not an independent contractor.
There are ethics issues that are beyond what we can deal with, and this thing is so far gone. I have spent, and a lot of you have too, the last year. If you want to fix it, we're going to get down to business tonight. Otherwise, tomorrow morning, we're going to vote to dissolve this. I am not going to allow any more of this to go on. I've had my fill.
It's not your job to allow
Well-
it to go on, it's your job to help fix it.
And we're not fixing it. We have the last little bit here, we've had several meetings. When we talk to our board members, we don't feel like we're making progress. We issue a buyout contract, it's not signed, we don't have it. I have employees telling me that we have people going into the public health building at night. We have a lot of issues that are not being resolved. We either take the
You
action.
spent a lot of time identifying problems.
You bet.
What I want is half that much effort from you to fix something.
Let's go into executive session, and I'm going to tell you exactly how to
We'll
fix
make
it.
a motion.
I move to go into executive session to
Are
discuss
we
employee
abandoning where we were at on the agenda?
personnel issues.
So we're stopping where we were at on the agenda?
Yes, ma'am.
So we're making no progress there.
Well, it's time we take some action. We can spend here and sit and spin our wheels time after time after time. It's been going on for a long time. The time is now to fix the issues once and for all.
And make a motion.
I need the motion. No, I'm fine, Carol. Thank you.
Here, yes. I got it. Good for you.